Oi, fala aí pessoal, bom dia. Você está escutando o Inglês no Rádio. I am your host, Foster Hodge. This is your daily dose of English. Hey, Alexia. Hey, listeners of Inglês no Cru all around the world, Brazilians, wherever you are. Alexia, how are you doing?
I am fine. What about you?
I'm doing great because today is day 2 of phrasal verb week.
And today, guess who's in town?
Who?
My dad!
Oh, yeah. So I forgot. Today is actually not Tuesday. Today is Sunday, but we are taking advantage of some free time on the weekend to record episodes because Alexia's dad is getting here on
Yes.
Tuesday. Are you excited?
I am so excited. So excited. I'm dancing right now. You are the only one who can see me, so.
Yeah. So Alexia is moving around a lot, and that is the topic of today.
Yeah, that's true. So move around is a phrasal verb.
Yes. And with the verb to move, we have a lot of phrasal verbs.
Yeah. So where do we begin?
I think we can begin with exactly what you're doing right now. You're moving around. So, Alexia, do you understand what I say when you're moving around?
Well, I do. I know that it's like, let's move around. Se mexer.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know if I would use the phrasal verb moving around for what you were doing. It's more like twerking or like a Brazilian funky or something like that. Baile funky.
No, it's more like Shakira.
Hips don't lie.
Uh-huh.
So you could just say you're moving. You know, you are literally in movement. But we use the phrasal verb moving around a lot. Like, hey, stop moving around. You know?
Yeah.
Like, stop. I'm trying to record podcasts. Alexia, sit still. Stop moving around. So that is one sense that we use this phrasal verb, moving around. Do you have any other ideas how we use this in English?
With us, we move around a lot.
Yes, we do move around a lot. And that does not mean that we shake our hips a lot like Shakira, which is also true. But it means that we are moving from place to place.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone's moving around, we say this a lot when people are like, oh, where do you live? People ask this to me all the time. Where do you live? And I'm like, oh, you know, I move around a good bit.
Yeah. You answer this and I just say, well, right now in Portugal.
Yeah. So I don't want to say like, technically, I think you would say I'm homeless.
No.
But a lot of times I am dog sitting. Right now I'm dog sitting in Portugal. A lot of times I'm traveling with my girlfriend Alexia. Sometimes I'm staying with my parents. But the point of the story is I move around a lot.
Yeah. So I would say that is se deslocar de lugar para o outro.
Yeah, that sounds like a formal way to describe it. So another context in which I hear the phrase to move around is when people are talking about their childhood. So if you say, where are you from? And you don't really have one place that you consider your home, you might say, oh, I moved around a lot when I was a kid. Or we moved around a good bit because my dad worked for the government or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can say I'm moving around or I'm moving around a lot this year from place to place, or when you're talking about your childhood. I would say those are the 3 most common uses of to move around.
Cool.
Is that cool?
Cool.
Okay, moving along now.
Perfect, because it's our next phrasal verb.
Yes. So moving along can be to move to the next idea or project or something. I think normally I would say moving on to the next topic, but I just wanted to say moving along. But another and probably a more common use for the phrase to move along is like, hey, get out of here,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I hear police say this a lot, or teachers, or just authority figures, people in charge. It's like, move along, guys. There's nothing to see here, nothing to do here. Let's move along.
Party's over.
Yeah.
I don't use that much because I am not a police officer or
Yeah.
like a
Not yet.
teacher. I am a teacher, but not in this case. I'll say that to my students.
Yeah. I remember when I was teaching in Spain and I was teaching like more than 50 little crazy Spanish 5th and 6th graders. I would say that a
Fifth
lot.
and sixth, they are.
Yeah. It's a good way to practice your TH, 5th and 6th. That means they were like 10, 11, 12 years old,
Okay.
which means they were crazy little
Kids.
bad word kids. Yes. But a lot of times if they're in the hall and I need them to get into the classroom, like, okay, guys, move along, get out of here. Recess is over. No more fun time. Listen to Foster, please. Move along, children. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So when a lot of people are thinking about the verb to move, they are thinking about moving in and out of places.
Cool.
So what do you understand with moving in?
This is easy. Quando eu tô me mudando para algum lugar.
Okay. So do you have an example, or do you want me to provide you with an example?
For example, my friend Bruna, she is moving in with her friend Rafaela.
Yeah. So you can move in with someone. That is a very common way to talk about it. But you could also say Bruna moved into a new apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we use Bruna in too many examples.
Okay, Mariana.
Yes. Alexia has more than one friend. We can spread the love. We can move the love around.
The thing is, I know that Bruna listens to us. And Mariana, she doesn't.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yes.
Marina's stupid. Ma, se você está escutando, você é stupid. Okay. So I could say, for example, Alexia, wow, this is a beautiful apartment. When did you move in?
Last October. Thank you.
Yeah, which is not true because we did not recently move into a new place or anything like that.
No.
Okay. So you could also say I'm moving in with someone, like you were talking about Bruna. A lot of times I hear this in relationships.
Mm-hmm. My girlfriend is moving in with me.
Yeah.
I am moving in with my boyfriend.
Exactly. And that means you are literally going to live with your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're moving in, that means you're going to live with someone. When we talk about moving out, what do you think that means?
It's the opposite.
Yeah. So give me some examples, Alexia. Hit me.
When the leasing contract is over.
Yeah. A lot of times you can just say lease.
Okay. When the lease contract is over.
Yeah, you don't have to say contract.
I'm sorry. When the lease is
The
over.
lease is a contract.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit repetitive.
When the lease is over, someone has to move out.
Someone has to move out.
Someone has to move out.
Yeah, so when the lease is over, or a lot of times I say when the lease is up, that means it is done.
Mm-hmm.
Acabou o contrato. That someone moves in or someone moves out, right?
Exactly.
So if your lease is done, that means you are moving out and probably someone else is moving in.
Perfect.
Yeah. So do you want to give me an example? Like, Alexia, when are you moving out of your apartment? This is a hypothetical situation, but give me a time.
This January.
Perfect. Another very common example is moving out of like your parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Foster, when are you moving out of your parents' house?
Technically, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17 years old. But now that I am decided to become an online teacher / entrepreneur / whatever I do, podcaster, Occasionally I have to move back in because financially, bad decision. But spiritually and just for making friends with Brazilians all over the world, good decision. Okay, so moving on to the next phrasal verb. Let's talk about move on, Alexia.
Yeah, it's like you gotta move on. You gotta forget that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great phrase. Is move on from something is like forget about it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Or
Move on with your life.
move on with your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear this a lot when you are, I'm not saying you specifically, but you as everyone, if you're like finishing a phase in your life, it's like it's time to move on.
Yes, that's it.
You know, that was a good time in my life, but it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So move on can also, it can be in this more metaphorical sense, like I need to move on to the next part of my life. Or it can just be like, ir embora. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
To move on. Like we've been talking about the phrasal verb to move a lot. Let's move on.
That's true. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. And also to move on to is very common. So we have move on and move on to, which can be very similar, but they have a small difference. So if you're moving on to something, that technically means that there's something else there, right? If you're just moving on, you don't know exactly where you're moving on to.
Okay, so I am moving on to happiness.
Yeah, that isn't a very good example. So, a very common phrase I hear in English a lot is like moving on to bigger and better things.
Ah, okay. Moving on to new projects.
Exactly. Advancing in your
Mhm.
life, making progress. So, it's like Alexia stopped her job at Porto dos Fundos like a year ago, and then you moved on to bigger and better things with Inglês no Cru.
Damn right.
Damn straight, brother. Inglês no Cru technically is not bigger than Porto dos Fundos. Better is a subjective argument, but certainly funnier.
It depends on your point of view, but we do have fun here.
Yeah, depends on. That's another great phrasal verb. So, moving on, Alexia, I think that is good for today. Tomorrow, we will come at you guys with another good phrasal verb lesson.
Perfect.
How does that sound?
Amazing.
Cool. So let's put on some good music with the word moving, some phrasal verb. We'll think of a song. Our producer, which is me, will put it in when he's editing. Okay, Alexia, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.